Hi there, friends. I'm Vasco. I'm part of the team behind the first global Scrum Master Summit. If you're a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master Summit is a place to learn, to share, and to meet new friends. We will have lots of live sessions where you can meet and network with other Scrum Masters from all over the globe. So make sure you check it at bit.ly/SM Summit and the numeral 21. That's bit.ly/SMSUMMIT21. We have 7 amazing keynotes or more, as we are still organizing the conference as I record this, and 8 tracks that feature people like you and thought leaders sharing their insights and knowledge to help you become an awesome Scrum Master. So once again, check it out at bit.ly/SM Summit 21. That's all lowercase, all one word, SM Summit and the numeral 21. I'll see you on the virtual conference floor. All right, now on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our TGIF and Product Owner episode this week with Evelien Acun-Roos. Hi, Evelien. Welcome back.
Thank you, Vasco, for having me on this Friday.
Absolutely. TGIF, as they say. So we talk product owner, and we'll start first with an anti-pattern. We'll end up on a high talking about the best product owner we've ever worked with, but that's later on. So start first, Evelien, by sharing with us a story of what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
Yes, thank you for that question. I think I've witnessed all anti-patterns of a product owner in my career over the past years. I will give you a few examples of the things that I've run into. Mainly it's about having no focus as a product owner. So what I've seen is a product owner who had to combine his or her, I saw a product owner who had to combine his role as a product owner with being an engineer. You can imagine how difficult that was for him and how difficult it was during, for instance, refinement for him to not go into this solution direction, but to keep it as a product owner describing the what. So that is an example. So a combination of a product owner and an engineer. I also had an example where the product owner role was a side job, and that person had 4 hours a week to conduct his role as a product owner. And you can imagine that is not enough
That's
time.
not enough. I mean, the thing that really shocks me is I understand that somebody starts from that point, right? Like you're given the PO role and you go like, okay, I have 4 hours a week, so I'll just use those 4 hours. But after a couple of sprints, what really shocks me is how people don't see that it really is impossible to play that as a side role. Like, what drives people to stick to that idea that let's just play this as a side role instead of saying that, hey, I tried, I gave it my best, but, 4 hours isn't good enough to talk to customers, talk to stakeholders, talk to teams, attend the stand-ups, review stuff, participate in the retrospectives, learn from what we do in the demos, bring that to customers, do, communicating 360 degrees basically is what PO roles is about. So in your experience, Evelien, why do people stick to that partial or part-time PO job?
Yeah, that is a good question. I think on one hand they are forced by it by the organization, where the organization says, okay, we're working with Scrum, but this is the maximum amount of time you get for this role. And another thing is that I think in that example, the person thought, okay, well, I have an excuse. So all the things that I cannot do, I can blame on only having 4 hours a week. And I don't think they really wanted to be the product owner, because if you want to do your job well, then you probably would have tried a bit harder to get more hours for that.
Or just said, come out and say, look, it's impossible. Let's find another
Let's say
solution.
no, indeed. Yeah. But I think that people were forced into the role. So that might be the next anti-pattern. Find someone that really wants to be the product owner instead of forcing someone into it. But yeah, at the end, it's a Scrum team who suffers, right? So
Absolutely. And of course, as I usually say, we don't ship PowerPoint, we ship software. So if you don't have a PO helping the team suffers, but in the end, the customer suffers.
Yeah, 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 true.
Absolutely. That's quite a collection of anti-patterns. Thank you for sharing that, Evelien. And of course, now we turn our attention to the opposite, the mirror image of this. What might have been in your career possibly the best product owner you've ever worked with?
Yes, so this is an example of a product owner at an organization where I worked for a few months as a Scrum Master, and this product owner was really a team player. He did not place himself higher than the others. He was really, yeah, one of the guys. Right. So it's not that, okay, we have a product owner, he is difficult to reach or is not approachable, but really one of the guys. And next to that, he was also very good in involving the stakeholders. So he managed to create a very large visible roadmap, which he put on the wall. So it's visible for everybody, both the team and the stakeholders. So he would revisit that roadmap oftenly with both team and stakeholders. So I think that was a good practice that he did. One of the things is that, well, when he started the job, he went to a product owner training. For some of us, that seems the most obvious thing to do. You start a new role, you go for a training, but that's not for everybody the case. Not every Some people say, okay, I will just manage it and I will read some stuff about product ownership and just roll into it. But he was really dedicated in about understanding what the role means and what responsibilities or accountabilities come with it. So I think that is one of the things I would always advise. But yeah, sometimes not no time or no budget, that kind of stuff. But he really dove into that role. Next to that, he organized client visits. So he asked his clients to walk around in the organization to see what we are doing, who's working on your product for you. So it's really building the connection between the Scrum team and the people that they're doing the work for.
That's
And that,
brilliant. That's really
yeah,
brilliant because it builds connection in both directions, the team to the customer and the customer to the team. Great idea.
and it also tied back to the purpose, right? So we're not just executing work, or we're not only creating features, but these are the people we're doing it for. And the other way around, the clients saw, okay, these are the people that are working very hard for us. So it's really a nice
And
building.
especially putting it that way, right? These people are working for you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That was brilliant. That that sounds like a person, the product owner, a person that was paying attention to the small things that can make a huge difference in that PO role. Of course, the training is not a small thing, but having the possibility to meet customers is huge for team members. Not all team members, but many team members will appreciate that very much, and of course, the clients will too.
Yeah, 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 and they really did. And like the product owner was building those bridges between those separate groups of people, and both groups were very involved in their product, and it really gave them the idea of purpose and the idea of, okay, this is really something we're doing together, and I think that really helped. And I think that helps to create a nice product or a nice app or a nice website.
Absolutely. Evelien, we're getting close to the end. Unfortunately, it's been a pleasure to have you here this week. But before we do go, where can people go to find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Well, you can find more about me on the website evelienroos.nl, which I can share with you, Vasco.
Yeah, I'll
And
put it on the show notes for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And well, you can look me up at LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. So if you want to know more about me, you can find me on all these social media. Usually I go by Scrum Boosters because boosting your Scrum is one of the things that I love to do. So if you search on Scrum Boosters, you will find me, and also find me on Evelien Roos.
Absolutely. We'll put the link to all of those on the show notes so that people can easily find Evelien and connect and ask questions and maybe explore some of these topics a bit further.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Vasco.
Evelien, thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
You're welcome. It's always great to share knowledge. And a podcast is for me a different way of doing that. I think it's the second one that I've been on. So I was a little bit nervous before, but I think we managed.
Absolutely. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Vasco.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over. But there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.